Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today we are going to be looking at everyone's not so fuzzy or furry little friend, the pangolin.
Yes.
Lovely creatures. You don't really want to cuddle a pangolin.
No,
it might kind of pinch.
They don't look all that cuddly, and they got pretty big.
They do have big claws, that's right. But they're cute and they're endangered, so we need to take care of them. That's why the article is titled, Pity the Pangolin. Be kind, feel sorry for the pangolin, take care of the pangolin, a mammal in peril. So there we've learned a couple of things already. Pangolins are in trouble in nature, and they are mammals as well. So they're warm-blooded animals. Very, very interesting. Now, I thought this was a great article to do because you guys might have seen this on the news a few months ago here in Taiwan, in Taidong. A pangolin walked into a convenience store. And of course, the people in the store thought this was strange. Well, no, actually, the people in the store didn't know what was going on. Apparently, the person working there heard the doors open because they bing, bing, they make that sound. They looked, they didn't see anyone walking around, and then they heard a noise or they looked over, and there's a pangolin walking around inside the 7-Eleven or Family Mart or whatever it was. I don't know if the pangolin was buying pao mian, which would kind of make sense if the pangolin was there to get some milk or some eggs or maybe buy a lottery ticket, or I don't know what they were there for, maybe buy a train ticket to leave Taidong. But the pangolin was safe. It's apparently in Taipei Zoo being looked at by vets and doctors because we have to take care of pangolins. And the other funny thing was this happened on World Pangolin Day, which is like a big United Nations international, let's pay attention and take care and know more and be careful of and for the pangolin. So that pangolin, I guess, maybe he was out buying some, party supplies. They were having a party, a barbecue. Who knows what they were doing. But anyways, pangolins are in trouble, even though they might visit convenience stores. Normally, they're in the forest, which is where they should be. And that's why we should pity the pangolin and take care of them because they are a mammal in peril. Let's check it out.
You will probably never see a pangolin in the wild, as these mammals, being nocturnal, are only active at night. However, if you did see one, you would immediately notice that most of its body is covered in tough, overlapping scales instead of hair. You would also observe its long snout and even longer sticky tongue, which it uses to snack on ants and termites. In fact, a pangolin's tongue can grow up to 70 centimeters long. Pangolins are found in Africa and Asia. They can survive as long as 20 years in captivity, but we don't know how long they can live for in the wild. If you are lucky enough to encounter a wild pangolin, don't be afraid, for it won't attack a human. However, don't try to touch or chase it, as it'll be frightened by your approach. If a pangolin feels threatened, it'll curl into a ball to protect its face and stomach. A mother pangolin will wrap her body around her baby to keep it safe.
All right, so a lot of us know about the pangolin. If you've been to the Taipei Zoo, and I'm sure many of you have, you've probably seen them there, learned about them there. But there are some issues that pangolins are facing that we should all be aware of because we here in Taiwan are one of the few countries in the world where we actually have pangolins in the wild. No pangolins in America.
That's true.
No pangolins in Canada, none in Europe as far as I know. So the places that they do live naturally have a great responsibility to sort of take care of them. And we, as citizens of a country like that, we also have a responsibility. So let's find out about the pangolin, what it's doing, what problems it's facing, and what it buys at a convenience store.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. It says you will probably never see a pangolin in the wild, but you might see him at a convenience store.
Oh, hey, there it is, buying some eggs.
Yes, as these mammals, being nocturnal, are only active at night.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, so most of the time you're not going to be out in the woods or the mountains or whatever in the night, so you're probably won't ever see this out in the wild.
Yes.
However, if you did see one, you would immediately notice that most of its body is covered in tough, overlapping scales instead of hair, which again, if you've been to the Taipei Zoo, you've seen them and you've seen their little scales all over their body and their sharp claws and their little pointy nose.
Yeah, absolutely. And we learned from the title, of course, that it's a mammal. It's a warm-blooded animal. Warm-blooded animals usually have hair, right? Like dogs, cats, horses, lions, tigers. Even elephants have hair on them. They don't usually have scales. Lizards, snakes, fish. They have scales, not mammals, so this is a very unusual animal. You would also observe its long snout, its long nose, and even longer sticky tongue, which it uses to snack on ants and termites. That's my pangolin impersonation.
Very good.
Okay. In fact, a pangolin's tongue can grow up to 70 centimeters long. That's about 30 centimeters, right? So that might be 60. Yeah, that's about that long.
Wow.
It's around that long. It's pretty long. That's a long tongue.
That's a really long tongue.
Absolutely. All right. So you will definitely observe that if you were lucky enough to see a pangolin eating, especially. When you observe something, you see something, and you might be watching it kind of carefully. Margaret sat on her balcony and observed the street below. Maybe she was watching her neighbors. Who's that strange guy parking? What's that delivery truck doing there? I'm watching and I'm thinking and I'm looking at the same time.
Yes, and so we are going to see now more about pangolins and where do they live. So as we know, they are found in Taiwan, which is part of Asia, and it says pangolins are found in Africa and Asia. So not just in Asia, but also Africa. They can survive as long as 20 years in captivity, which means in, for example, a zoo or in somewhere where people are protecting them. They have built their home for them. But we don't know how long they can live for in the wild.
Wow.
Again, they probably are pretty hard to study as there aren't so many left. They're nocturnal. All of these things make them a little bit difficult to observe and to study. And it says, if you are lucky enough to encounter a wild pangolin, don't be afraid, for it won't attack a human.
No.
So yeah, they seem to be pretty docile, meaning they're pretty calm, especially towards people, because we don't really pose any threat. They also are not so interested in trying to eat anything that's connected to us, because they eat ants and termites,
That's true.
people.
Well, maybe not. Maybe Paul Rudd.
Okay.
Because he's Ant-Man.
If he shrinks down to Ant-Man.
Anyway.
So he might be the only one who has to watch out for the pangolin. Everybody else, we're okay.
We're fine.
If we encounter them, we're okay. So encounter, this verb just means to kind of come across or almost run into somebody or something. This is usually not really a planned encounter. It's usually something that happens kind of by accident. You were sitting there waiting. You might have been hoping that you were going to see some certain animal, and luckily they came across, so you were able to encounter them. And in our example sentence, they're using it to talk about an old friend. And it says, yesterday I encountered an old friend on my way home from work, which of course you can use it in this way. I would say I probably won't generally use it to talk about people encountering. It's a lot of times it's more like animals, or you encounter a situation, something like that. But you can, of course, use it in that way as well.
There you go. An unexpected event that kind of happens while you're going somewhere or doing something. However, back in the article, don't try to touch or chase it, as it'll be frightened by your approach. These are one of those animals we have to give maximum respect and care to. If a pangolin feels threatened, it'll curl into a ball to protect its face and stomach. A mother pangolin will wrap her body around her baby to keep it safe. Aww,
cute.
That's so cute, because the babies are very small, and maybe their scales aren't as hard and things like that. So the little mommy will put the baby here and then curl up into a ball all around it. When you curl something, you basically kind of wrap it around, you kind of turn it inside on itself. If you're trying to roll, head over your feet, you'll have to curl yourself into a ball. If you're trying to protect yourself, if you get attacked by some kind of hunting animal, often they say curl up, right? Protect your head, protect your neck, protect parts like that. If you're very cold and you're in your bed and you want to feel warm, you might curl up to try to use your own body heat to warm up those cold parts of your body. So that's basically what you're doing. You're kind of closing in or wrapping in on yourself. For example, the cat decided to curl up at my feet and go to sleep. Cats are very good at curling, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Very flexible. All right, that's all the time we have for this first part, but we're going to have the second part after the quick break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天的课程要介绍 Pangolin 穿山甲。穿山甲是夜行性的哺乳类动物，它们只在夜间活动，所以呢，要在野外看到它们并不容易。如果你真的看到了穿山甲，你应该会立刻注意到它身体大部分呢都是被这种坚硬交叠的鳞片覆盖着，那也会注意到它细长的口鼻，还有呢长长的舌头，它是用舌头来把蚂蚁和白蚁当作点心吃的。而穿山甲的舌头可以长达70公分诶。我们来看单字 observe 表示注意到、看到或者是观察、观测。Mike 老师刚刚呢，他想要试着模仿穿山甲，那老师用到 impersonation 这个字，我们学一下 impersonation 可以表达扮演、模仿。好，那课文接着提到说，穿山甲分布在非洲和亚洲。如果你有幸能遇到野生的穿山甲，不用害怕哦，因为它不会攻击人。但是请不要试着去摸它或追赶它，因为它会被吓到。那如果穿山甲感受到威胁，它就会卷成球来保护它的脸部和肚子。那穿山甲妈妈也会用它的身体来裹住宝宝，确保它的安全。Sam 老师刚刚有用到 docile 或者是念作 docile 来描述穿山甲，那这个字是拼作 docile， 那它是形容温驯的或者是驯服的，容易控制的。再看单字 encounter， 它是动词，表示偶遇、遇到或者是遭遇。那么 curl 它是指卷曲、使卷曲。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是与现在事实相反的假设句。要表达跟现在事实相反或是极不可能发生的假设时 ，if 子句要用过去式。那如果动词是 be 动词，就一律用 were。而主要子句我们会用 would、could、might 或是 should 去加原形动词，所以这个句型就会是 if 主词加上 were 或者是过去式动词，逗号主词加上 would、could、might 或是 should 再加原形动词。我们造2个例句 ：If I were you, I would make the same decision. 如果我是你，我也会做出同样的决定。If I had $1 billion, I would buy a yacht. 如果我有10亿美元，我会买一艘游艇。好，那第2个重点是形容词子句的非限定用法。非限定用法的形容词子句呢，是用来补述说明先行词。那这个先行词会是专有名词，或者是独一无二的人事物。那先行词是事物的时候，记得关系代名词要用 which， 而且不能用 that 代替。然后 which 的前面必须加逗号隔开。例如 ，Selena lives in Seoul, which is the capital of South Korea。Selena 住在首尔，那是南韩的首都。那么 Seoul 首尔是专有名词，我们用形容词子句 which is the capital of South Korea 来补充说明它。那这时候 which 前面就要加逗号，把这个补充说明部分隔开来。那 which 不能用 that 代替。接华课文中。
Unfortunately, pangolins are now endangered because people kill them for their scales and claws, which are used in traditional medicines. The animals are also hunted for their meat, which is considered a delicacy in some countries. Pangolins have been protected under international law since 2016, but sadly, this hasn't stopped them from being killed. Much more work needs to be done to stop the hunting of these shy, gentle animals.
All right, so we know a little bit about pangolins. Now let's find out why they're in trouble. It says, unfortunately, pangolins are now endangered because people kill them for their scales and claws, which are used in traditional medicines. Oh, come on! Shark fins, pangolin claws. There's real medicine. You don't need to kill these wonderful animals to get your traditional medicine. So yes, this is unfortunately the case even now in the 21st century.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yes, and so we have this word unfortunately, and that is an adverb. And if you look in the middle of the word, you see this fortune, this word fortune, and that is where it comes from. And if something is fortunate, which is the other form of this word, it is lucky, it is good, it is all those kinds of things. So if something is happening unfortunately, then that is similar to saying unluckily. So something unfortunately is happening, the bad part, the thing that we wish it wasn't happening, but it is. And so we can also say unluckily, this is what is happening. Unfortunately, the train had already left by the time I got to the station. So that is a bad thing. I got there just a little bit too late, and unfortunately, bad for me, it's already gone.
There you go. And endangered. When something is endangered, this adjective, and we usually use it for wild things, plants, birds, fish, animals of all types, and plants as well, as I said, it means that there aren't many left out there in nature. They are being hunted, their habitat is disappearing, the climate is changing, and they're not able to survive. So it means scientists are very, very worried about this animal. And often when animals are endangered, there are special laws to protect them. They can't be hunted, they can't be sold, they can't be traded, you can't have them as a pet, things like that. There's threatened, which means we're worried about the animal. Endangered, which means the animal is in serious trouble. And then when it's too late, the animals become extinct. They're gone. There are no more left. Maybe one in a zoo, but there isn't a wild population out there. And of course, by that time, it's too late to bring them back. And as you probably know, there are many endangered animals around the world, and pangolins are certainly one of the most endangered. Here's another example. Tigers are endangered as there are only around 5,500 of them left in the wild. There's Bengal tigers, Siberian tigers, I'm not sure which one that is. Elephants are getting more endangered. Rhinoceros have been endangered for a long time. So this is a serious problem we all need to be aware of.
Yes, and so the animals, again, we're back with our pangolins. The animals are also hunted for their meat, which is considered a delicacy in some countries. So again, not just their claws and scales for medicine, but now their meat as well, just to be eaten as a delicacy, which means like something kind of fancy or nice or rare to get to eat. Again, that's kind of similar to like shark fin soup that used to be served at, weddings and things like that, because it's a delicacy, but not something that's necessarily a good thing. And we also continue when we see that pangolins have been protected under international law since 2016. So they are protected, but sadly, this hasn't stopped them from being killed. Much more work needs to be done to stop the hunting of these shy, gentle animals. So yes, of course, there are laws out there that are saying don't do this, but the people who are breaking the laws, well, they're breaking the laws. They don't really care if there's a law or not.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess because pangolins live in the mountains, hunters can sneak up there, put traps out, catch the pangolins. It's hard to catch the killers of the pangolins, but of course it's very wrong. And if you see pangolins being bought, sold, or, consumed anywhere you are, you should definitely notify the police. What do you think? Here's our what do you think question. Have you ever seen a pangolin? If so, where was it? And I'm guessing not in your local convenience store.
No, it wasn't. Yes, I saw one or a few.
Really?
Well, at the zoo.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure I have actually seen the pangolins at the zoo, but I haven't been to the zoo in a really long time, so I definitely need to go back and visit them. We should all visit the pangolins because we don't know when there won't be any more, so let's do all we can to make sure these lovely animals are here for many more hundreds and thousands and millions of years, because they've been around a long time.
A long time.
A lot longer than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be nice to them. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take care of pangolins. And we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.
不幸的是，穿山甲现在濒临灭绝。有些人为了将它们的鳞片和爪子用于传统药物而去捕杀它们，那有些人则是为了它们的肉而猎捕它们，因为在一些国家，穿山甲肉被视为珍奇美味。好，那自从2016年以来，穿山甲已经受到国际法保护，只是呢，这并没有阻止它们遭到猎杀，还需要有更多的作为才能阻止这些残忍的猎捕猎杀行为。好，我们最后来看单字 Unfortunately， 它表示不幸地、令人遗憾地，是个副词。那 endangered， 它是形容濒危的、濒临绝种的。Mike 老师在解释单字时有提到 habitat。habitat 可以表达动植物的栖息地。那在讲到濒危物种时，老师有提到这个 rhinoceros 就是犀牛。再看到补充单字 delicacy， 它表示珍馐佳肴，尤其是稀有昂贵那种珍奇美味。好，那以上节讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
You will probably never see a pangolin in the wild, as these mammals, being nocturnal, are only active at night. However, if you did see one, you would immediately notice that most of its body is covered in tough, overlapping scales instead of hair. You would also observe its long snout and even longer sticky tongue, which it uses to snack on ants and termites. In fact, a pangolin's tongue can grow up to 70 centimeters long. Pangolins are found in Africa and Asia. They can survive as long as 20 years in captivity, but we don't know how long they can live for in the wild. If you are lucky enough to encounter a wild pangolin, don't be afraid, for it won't attack a human. However, don't try to touch or chase it, as it'll be frightened by your approach. If a pangolin feels threatened, it'll curl into a ball to protect its face and stomach. A mother pangolin will wrap her body around her baby to keep it safe. Unfortunately, pangolins are now endangered because people kill them for their scales and claws, which are used in traditional medicines. The animals are also hunted for their meat, which is considered a delicacy in some countries. Pangolins have been protected under international law since 2016, but sadly, this hasn't stopped them from being killed. Much more work needs to be done to stop the hunting of these shy, gentle animals.
I can't get this backpack to close.
What on earth did you pack? It looks like you brought everything but the kitchen sink.
Kitchen sink? Why would I bring a kitchen sink camping?
No, it's just a saying. It just means that you brought everything imaginable.
Oh, well, I just thought we should be prepared for every scenario. Yeah, I can entertain you with music.
We don't need music.
Oh. Hi everyone, today's idiom is everything but the kitchen sink.
Yes, and it doesn't literally mean you're not bringing a kitchen sink. It's a funny way of saying that someone is bringing a lot of extra things.
Exactly. The phrase everything but the kitchen sink is used to describe a situation where someone has brought or used a lot of things, even those that may not be essential.
It's believed to have originated from World War II, where everything possible was used to contribute to the war effort, except for the kitchen sink.
Wow, interesting. And now it's expanded to refer to any situation where you're bringing or using a lot of unnecessary items.
It's like when you pack for a vacation and you bring a lot of clothes and items that you end up not using.
Right, or for example, if you're preparing for a presentation and you bring too many materials, you could say that you brought everything but the kitchen sink.
Or she always carries everything but the kitchen sink in her purse.
Right. So remember everybody, sometimes less is more. Don't carry everything but the kitchen sink.
That's right, Shane. Well, that's all for today.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.